Good evening, good evening, good evening, my brothers and sisters. Your brother Tony is in the house at the dinner table. So come join me, my brother and sister. I have a special treat prepared for those of you that come to the dinner table basically almost every night. So come on in. I'm not going to disappoint you tonight. I've been thinking about what I was going to prepare for you all, and I got a good meal for you all tonight. So, my brother and sister, when you come in and sit down, I want you to feel comfortable because this is going to be something good to feast on. And by the way, go ahead and invite some more family members and friends to the dinner table. If this is your first time at the dinner table, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Tony M. Toomer, and I talk about relationships. I talk about relationship basically from a biblical point of view. And when I say biblical point of view, I strongly believe in the book of Genesis, how God created the relationship, and he had a unique relationship with the man solo first. He had a unique relationship with the woman solo first. He represented the woman to the man being Adam, and the woman being Eve. And in the presence of God, Adam said in regards to Eve, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, I should call a woman because she came from man. God is the foundation of the right type of relationship. Okay. And God calls the shot on how a relationship should be and how he would like for it to be, since he is the one that created everything. So God could say what goes and what does not go when it comes to a relationship. Okay. Again, this is if this is your first time, you're going to enjoy this meal that we have tonight. And by the way, I'm on two different platforms. I'm on the book and I'm on the tube. Those of you on the tube, I make a comment to those that are on the book. And you may not see their names and comment, but I will call out their names and comment every now and then. And those of you on the book, I may say something to those that are on the tube. You may not see their name and their comment, but I will call their name and comment every now and then. Now, what are we going to discuss at the dinner table tonight? Now, I want you all to know this, brother and sister. When we're at the dinner table, I want you to know that you can feel free to make a comment or ask a question because we're family here, okay? But we're going to be very respectful because we may have some guests that come in and want to sit at the dinner table, and we want them to be able to really enjoy this good food for the soul. And with that said, my brother, and with that said, my sister, let's look at the top of the menu. And what do you see on the top of the menu? And this is some good food for the soul this evening. Should a person have unrealistic expectation from you when you aren't married? Again, should a person have unrealistic expectation from you when you aren't married? Now, the appetizer, we're going to go ahead and bring the appetizer in. Listen to the appetizer. As it is written in the book of Hebrews 13:4. Again, the book Hebrews 13:4. The book Hebrews 13:4. In God's word, it say, marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled. But whoremongers and adulterers God will judge. Again, from the book of Hebrews 13:4. This is God's inspiring word when it comes to relationships. As we know, God will prefer that a man and woman be in a serious, committed, and covenant relationship. But the world has a different perspective and spin on what a relationship should be. But if you are a spiritual man or a spiritual woman, you know that God values a man and a woman getting married. I mean, before they get married, it's okay that man and woman get engaged and move towards marriage, or go ahead and get married and say, I do. God really shuns relationship other than if a man and woman is engaged and married. If you're not engaged and you're not married, God really don't look positive on your relationship. And there are some of you brothers, sad to say, and there are some of you sisters, you are in a relationship and you going in circles like the children of Israel went on a circle in the wilderness. They could have made it to the promised land in 11 days, but they refused to do it God's way. And therefore, when they refused to do it God's way, they spent 40 unnecessary years in the wilderness. My brother and sister, I'm asking you, some of you have been in a relationship with a man and a woman for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 plus years and go on and on and on. And you don't even have a date to finish the finish line. Even people that run in the Olympics, they have a finish line. And when they have a finish line, they looking to get a reward. So my brother and sister, if you are in a relationship, you are just like a man or woman that's running on the track field. You're running, you're crossing hurdles, but you got a goal in mind. You see the finish line. When you see the finish line, if you in first place, you going to get the goal. That's what you strive for, the top reward. So brothers and sisters, when it comes to a relationship, you are in a race to do it the right way, because the finish line, you will get a reward from God. Brothers and sisters, if you're not in the right type of relationship that God authorized, that God approved, you are wasting your time. Your relationship is nothing but vanity. It's not going to go nowhere. From the world perspective, it appears like it's going somewhere, but it's not going to go somewhere. And I know, my brother and sister, because I have been in that position when I'm talking about calling myself in a relationship with a woman or women, and it wasn't going nowhere. I mean, for years and years and years, I was in that wilderness. The woman was in that wilderness. We were going in circle, 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 but it wasn't going nowhere, because I was not doing it God's way, and neither was the woman that I was involved with. The women that I was involved with were doing it God's way. So therefore, I could not experience the utopia way, or the woman could not experience, or women could not experience the utopia way of doing it God's way. So if a man and woman, if you're dating someone and you're not in the marriage mode, because let me tell you something, my brother and sister, when it comes to dating, you don't date just for fun. I always say that. You do not date just for fun. You date with a purpose, but while you are dating for a purpose, you're looking for something long-term and in the future. When you're dating, you're not looking for nothing casual unless you are a user. Most men and most women that just like to go to date and date and date and go from man to man to man, these type of people are more likely they're narcissists and they're self-centered. These type of individuals are mostly me, myself, and I. They trying to see how much they can extract from a man or a woman without investing in a relationship. So just like if you're on Wall Street, those people, those investors, they are trying to invest in the stock market. They're not trying to invest to lose. They investing to gain. And that's what it's like to my brothers and sisters. It's just like you're on Wall Street. You're an investor. You're not just investing your resources to lose. You're looking to gain. And that's just like if you are a farmer. Farmers do not plant seeds and do not look for a harvest. They plant the seed, they cultivate the ground, and they're looking for something to grow. They're looking for fruit from their labor. So that's how a relationship is, my brother and sister. As I have always said, my brother and sister, when it comes to dating, it's serious business. It is like an interview. When you, brother, and you, sister, go out on a date, it's just like this. You're supposed to have a purpose and a plan. And that purpose of the plan is called forms, Forms. When you're dating, you need to bring up the five type of subjects. And you can remember the letter FORMS. It's like forms, okay? F, staying, you got to see, do you have anything about family? Are you compatible? Are you compatible when it comes to like occupations? Because somebody got to work, bills got to be paid. Religion, do you believe in God's son Jesus, the real Jesus, or the fiction Jesus, or another type of God? That could be a major conflict. Money, you have to discuss money, because money, unlike what a lot of people don't understand, money causes a lot of divorces. A lot of people think that infidelity, or not an infidelity, let's call it what it is, adultery, call most relationship breakup. No, a lot of it has to do with that money. When the money is funny, people go wild. And then another topic that you need to discuss, brother and sister, is sex. Sex should not be a taboo thing when it comes to people looking at who should be their mates. So you need, when you talk to a man or woman, you need to, and it's so simple, you could stress that conversation out a long time. All you have to remember this formula: FORMS. F for family, O for occupation, R for religion, M for money, S for sex. All you have to do is use that when you're dating, and you can put it in a form of a conversation, but you're there to interview. That's just like this, my brother and sister. It's a job. Marriage is a job. Marriage is not for the weak. Marriage is not casual. It's a job. When you get married, my brother and sister, you don't have no off days. You could rest like when you're on your job, you have vacation, but when you're married, you are married 24/7, 7 days a week. It's not only you, brother, it's not only you, sister. When you say I do, when you say I do before God, you, brother, and you, sister, become one flesh. You're not one flesh with no other human being, sister, but that man. And brother, you're not but one flesh with that woman. So those of you that come in to the dinner table, now, how you doing, Sister Angela? Welcome to the dinner table. On the menu for tonight, we're discussing, should a person have unrealistic expectations from you when you aren't married? Now, if you decide to date, my brother and sister, if you're married, if you're single, what should a man and a woman expect from you? This is what we're discussing at the dinner table. Should a person have unrealistic expectations from you when you aren't married? The reason why most relationships cannot reach its full potential or experience the utopia way is because there are some men and there are some women that think that they can modify. Some of them think that they could add to God's design and pattern from a relationship when he is the original architect. How you doing, Sister Tia? Tia said, good evening, Tony, everybody. Both parties must be willing and able to work together in the marriage for marriage to be successful. Amen, sister. Now, again, my brothers and sisters, you got to understand. I'm talking to you, brothers and sisters. I'm not talking to the world. If you single brother and you sister, if you are dating, it's not just to kill time. Your time is very precious, my brother and sister, just like that person time. You don't want to waste that person time. My question to you, brother and sister, when you're dating, do you want anyone to use your time? Do you want to be used, by the way? So my brother and sister, when you are dating, you're supposed to be dating someone that have a goal in mind. What do I mean? Someone that is married minded. You don't want no one that just want to date a serial dater. You do not want that. That's wasting your time. That's wasting your time. Now, if you settle, brother, if you settle, sister, to be in a relationship, brother, with a woman, and sister, if you settle to be in a relationship with a man, listen to the key word: settle. And you don't want to do it God's way. What happens when you do not want to do it God's way. I used the illustration a little earlier. For those of you that came in tonight, I'm going to say this illustration again. Remember the children of Israel. When God delivered them out of Egypt, they crossed the Red Sea and they got into the wilderness, right? It could have took them 11 days to get to the promised land, the land that flowed with milk and honey. Listen to what I'm saying, my brother and sister. When the children of Israel crossed the Red Sea, when they got to the wilderness, they was right on the borders of crossing over to the promised land, the land that flowed with milk and honey. However, they were rebellious. They had forgotten all the things that God did for them when they was in Egypt. When God was bringing them out of Egypt, they said, yeah, but then they start murmuring or complaining. God pulled them out, and he was trying to make things better for them. It's just like this too, my brother and sister. Some of you are still in Egypt. What I mean, you are under bondage with a man, sister, or you are in bondage, brother, with a woman. You're in Egypt when it comes to a relationship. How you doing, Sister Jacqueline? Welcome to the dinner table. So, you've been crying. You've been crying. And the Lord heard you. Now, Jesus intervened into that relationship to break that bondage, brother, and to break that bondage, sister, of that man or woman that got a bondage over you. You know that person that you think that you thought you couldn't live without. That person was messing with your mind. That person was messing with your emotions. That person was messing with your body. That person was working with your finances. That person had you going here and there. Your mind was spinning. You wake up thinking about that person when you should be thinking about God. You go to bed thinking about that person. You go talking to your relatives. You go talking to your friends. You go talking to your coworkers at social media. And they get tired of listening to it because they say to themselves and behind your back, why is he or she a fool staying there when that man and woman is using puppet strings on them? These people call you a puppet behind your back because you allow, brother, a woman to pull your strings, and sister, you allow for a man to pull your strings. So therefore, you are a puppet, and you can't see the strings. You are being controlled by a narcissist. A narcissist is a person that thinks the world revolves around him or her. So you orbiting around that man and woman. At first, they was real nice and considerate, right? They made you think that you were the best thing since light bread, right? But then as time went on, the mask started coming down and you discovered those people. So God was pulling you out of Egypt. But before God pulled you out of Egypt, he was waiting to see, are you going to turn to him? You thought that you can go to a relationship coach. You thought that you can go to a counselor. You thought that you can look at videos and look at talk shows about relationship. You thought that you can go to relationship expert. And most of these things that I'm talking about, they never add God into the equation. They never do. And you see, God knows what it is to hold a relationship together, because guess what? God is the designer. God is the one that established a pattern for a relationship between a man and a woman. Sister Jacqueline said she did all that. Sister, I know about that because I was doing that kind of crazy stuff. I know what it's like, brother. I know what it's like, sister, to walk in a relationship wilderness. Now, God took them through the Red Sea, and while he was doing all that, they was complaining. They complained so much they wanted to go back to Egypt. That's how some of you brothers and sisters are. God broke the bondage of that bad man or woman, and you are free, but you want to go back to that man or woman. That man or woman that was abusing you mentally and emotionally, physically, and financially. You want to go back to bondage. But keep in mind, like I said, the people, the children of Israel, they were going in a circle for 40 years. And they could have got to the promised land in 11 days. They was right there at the cup or border of the promised land. All they had to do was go through the wilderness 11 days. But God would not do it with majority of them. They did not make it. You know why? Because they didn't have faith in God. They had faith in their own ways, which leads to, should a person have unrealistic expectation from you, brother, or you, sister, when you aren't married? Gentlemen, brothers, why do you expect I'm talking to you Christian brother, and then I'm going to talk to you Christian sisters that aren't doing it God's way. Brothers, why do you allow a woman that is not your wife to have unrealistic expectations of you when she's not your wife? And you know it. You haven't said, not only have you not really got engaged, or you could have gave her a ring, but you didn't set no date on it. And I always say, it doesn't take a man a long period of time to decide whether or not he see that woman as a wife or not. The only thing a woman actually do is accept or reject. It's up to the man to initiate it. So, some of you brothers, you're in a relationship. Notice I said some of you brothers. I didn't say word to me. I'm talking directly to some of you Christian brothers. You are in an undercover relationship with a worldly woman, and she had unrealistic expectations of you. She views you as her husband, but you're not a husband. And she's not your wife, but she had unrealistic expectations. And I'm going to give you an example of what she has. Some of these worldly women, they have expectation for you to pay their bills. They have expectation for you to give them money. They have expectation for you to get their hair, the nails, and everything done. They have all type of wifely expectation, but yet she's not your wife. Do you really owe this woman anything when you're not a husband? From the world standpoint, brother, worldly women sucker some of you Christian brothers. That's right. Some of the worldly women, they sucker some of you Christian brothers. They used to worldly men playing the part of a husband. But you Christian brother, you should know better. You know that's the way of the world, not the way of God. Because you in the bad type of situation, you going into another Egypt. And you know how you started off? You started, a lot of you Christian brothers, you tried to get a relationship with a woman with your pocket. Just like a lot of those worldly men. You thought that you can buy love with your pocket. So you start buying love from that woman. And you think she actually loves you. She doesn't love you. She loves what you can do for her, but she don't love you. She don't love you, brother, for you being a godly man. She look at you as being a provider and protector minus Jesus. She don't want nothing to do with Jesus. She might play the church little girl. But on the inside, she have that Jezebel Delilah spirit in her. Yeah, she may look good. Yeah, she may be fine, but she want you to put some in her hand. That's why a lot of you brothers, when you go date some of these women, the first thing they want to know is what you do. Because they got to report to someone. They got to report to their girls, their family member, friends, and social media. They got to report what you do. It's not important to them who you have a relationship with. It's more important what you do. Now, a lot of you sisters, you know yourself. You have heard other women when they meet a man. Some of you sisters have even asked these women, what do you do? We can expect worldly women could do that. The first thing you want to know, what do you do? Instead of, does he have a relationship with God's son, Jesus? That conversation doesn't even come up, does it? No, it does not. So some of you brother, you think you could buy love, and when your discernment be kicking in, your discernment be saying, "Stop doing this. It's foolish. She's using you." But you trick yourself, brother. You're supposed to be analytical, right? But now you get all emotional and you get so tied to the worldly woman. God trying to deliver you from being in bondage again. And some of you brothers, you are a serial dater. And you keep dating these worldly women instead of a woman that God have in the bush for you, a Christian woman. You think these worldly women, you will have fun with them. You will have temporary fun with them, but you will not have long-term fun with them. You see, brother, when it comes to a relationship, you're supposed to look into the future. You're supposed to look at a woman to be your wife, not your girlfriend. That's how the worldly men look at it. But I have a sneaky suspicion that some of you brothers, you are playing that same game. So the woman keep using you and using you and using you. And then when you can't come through, she drop you. And then you want to go talk to your boys about how bad this woman have been to you. Why would you go discussing her with your boys and stuff like that when you was in the wrong type of relationship anyway? She had unrealistic expectation to you, but when the well ran dry, she was gone. You were doing all that stuff. You was acting in the role of your husband. You allowed that woman to mold you instead of allowing God to mold you. You let her mold you. Now, where you at now? Now, some of you got that philosophy, you can't trust women. All women are bad. It's not all women are bad or you can't trust them. You just got hooked up with the wrong one or some of them. And she had unrealistic expectations. Let me tell you this, you Christian brother. When you date with purpose. You don't want to waste your time. You don't want to waste her time. You can have fun, but you don't want to waste a lot of time. You understand? A lot of you wasting time. And these worldly women, they have unrealistic expectations. They'll go along for the ride. They don't have to get married. They could be your girlfriend for years. You could live with them. They could live with you. You could give them an engagement ring, which is called a shut-up ring, and you don't put no date to it. And they will enjoy it. Your family members and friends and everything, they look at you like a couple. They would even say you all a power couple. That's what the world would label you as. But you're not a power couple before God. What does the Bible say again? When we go to Hebrews 13:4, Hebrews 13:4, Hebrews 13:4 said, marriage is honorable in all things, and the bed undefiled, but whoremongers and adulterers God will judge. Thank you, Sister Jacqueline. It said, whoremongers and adultery, God would judge. I know about that because I was doing wrong before I said I do to Cinderella. I did wrong. I did wrong a lot of time, my brothers. I did wrong a lot of time, my sisters. God had to pull me out of that mess. He had to actually pull me out of that mess because I was in some messy stuff. I really was, my brothers and sisters. Ladies, why do some of you allow these worldly men? I'm talking to you Christian women. Why do we could expect worldly women to do it, but some of you Christian women that got a little boyfriend on the side or someone you've been dating for years and years and years that been promising you he was going to get married to you. Some of you are living with a man and you holding it up on rap because you don't want nobody to know it because you're a Christian woman. So you don't want nobody to know you living with him or he living with you. You don't want nobody. You don't want nobody to know that, do you? But this man have unrealistic expectations of you. He wants you to be his wife. Pretend wife. How you doing, Sister Cynthia Paul? Welcome to the dinner table. What do I mean by that? This man, he don't want to even talk about doing it God's way. He would rather not even put a label on your relationship. And if he does put a label on your relationship, he may say, this is my friend. He may even have you a term of endearment. He may call you baby, sweetheart. He may have his family looking at you like you his wife. He may have his boys looking at you like his wife, your co-workers, social media, but you're not what? You're not what? You know what? You're not married to him. But he had all these unrealistic expectations. What does he want you to do? He wants you to cook. He wants you to clean. If y'all have children together, he wants you to be the good mama and the pretend wife. He wants you to run his bathtub water. He wants you to be his arm piece when he go out in public so he could flex. He wants you to be available for the bedroom besides going to sleep. And you know what I'm talking about, physical intimacy. He requires all these things from you. And another thing, he requires for you to be quiet because you don't know what you're talking about. And the biggest thing, he wants you to be submissive to him. Have you noticed, some of you sister, a lot of these worldly men, they have this big thing. They want a woman to do what they say. They want to be the big honcho. They want to be the big king. They want to say, you do what I say. They want to take that part from the Bible about being submissive. That's what a whole bunch of worldly men do. They take that part about being submissive, but guess what? They're not submissive to God. But they want you to be submissive to them. These type of narcissist men, they demand for a woman to be submissive. And their way of being submissive is slavery. They want to tell you how high to jump. They like to give orders and commands. And you allowed them to do it. You remember those sweet talking men that you met some years ago or a few weeks ago or a few days ago? You thought that it was too good to be true. And now it is too good. God's spirit was saying, don't get into a relationship with this guy. He want to take you to the circus because he's a clown. These worldly men are clowns and they want to take you to the circus. And guess who's going to be starring in the circuit? You. You're going to be jumping through the fiery hoops. You're going to be walking on a tight line. You're going to be doing all these little things for these worldly men. They want you to do all this stuff as a wife, but they will not be serious. They say they're serious with you. That's what they say. They say they committed to you. That's what they say. Some of them may have even given you an engagement ring, but they didn't give you no engagement date. How long you all been with them? How long some of you Christian sisters been with this man? 5, 10, 15, 20 years. You're still with him today, Am I stepping on any toes tonight? I'm not trying to step on any toes, but I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you, brothers. I talked to you all earlier today, and I'm trying to help you, sister. I'm talking to you right now. You got these men want you to perform the role of a wife. They have high, unrealistic expectations, and you know what they do? Once you resist doing it, they're gonna bounce to someone else because they're gonna start telling you. They're gonna say, "You the woman. The Bible say that you're supposed to do what I asked you to do." But you see, you're afraid to say, "Well, you're not my husband." You know why you're afraid to do it? Because you're so tied to these guys. So they abuse you emotionally. They abuse you mentally. They abuse you physically. They abuse you financially. And some of you, sister, it's sad to say, you are actually taking care of some of these guys. You're paying his bills. You got him from his mama house, living with other people. And all he does is come in the house and don't do nothing. He tell you he's looking for a job while you working. And he playing Madden all day on the TV. On his PlayStation. He playing Madden all day. But when he hear you coming, he turn the game off and go act like he been doing something. And he give you all these, then he want to ask you, will you loan me some money? These are some guys. Now, some guys, they don't even live with you, but y'all say y'all in a relationship. You fooling yourself. You in a relationship with somebody that doesn't even look at you as a wife. And I'm telling you a secret, some of you sister, we men, when we look at you, we decide within a very short period of time, and it doesn't take us 6 months. It don't take us 6 months. It definitely don't take us a year. It doesn't go beyond a year. We already know whether we want to roll with you in the future or not. We divide you up in 3 categories. And let me tell you what 3 categories those are. I have said it before. Men put you all in temporary. They put you in temporary long-term, and they put you in long-term. Again, these are the 3 categories you sister get placed in. Temporary. What does temporary mean? That's all it is, temporary. They don't even really want to get to know you. They just want to know some things about you, but they don't want to know you. You see, these type of guys, they focus on the external. They don't want to know they don't want to know nothing about what's going on in you. They don't care whether you have a relationship with the Lord or not. They don't care about how you feel or nothing. They just want what you give them. And it's sad to say, some of you sisters, you fool yourself and you think if I sleep with him, we got a relationship. Oh, you got a relationship, but you don't have a relationship that you have, that what you prefer. You played yourself. And a lot of times these guys, they have you in a temporary thing. Once they get you horizontal, a lot of time they bounced on you. Unless they deem in their wicked mind that they had a good experience with you, they may keep you on the book or in their cell phone so they could come around to you again. Because a lot of these guys, a lot of these worldly guys, they try to hook you women with sex. Did you all know that? They feel like if they could go, let me get a little graphic, okay? A lot of these worldly men, they think if they go down on you orally, or they put it to you vaginally with their object down low, they try to get you all hooked on sex. Because you see, men know if I could get her hooked with my words, and then I could, quote unquote, make love to it ain't making love to you. Let's get that straight, sister. Men that aren't married to you, they can't make love, because you see, you can't make love anyway, because God is love. They can't even express love to you. Anytime you having sex with a man that you're not married to, according to God, is fornication. If you having sex with a man and he's not your husband, is fornication. If you are married to a man and you have sex with another man, it's adultery. If you just out there letting different men dip in you off and on, you are a whoremonger. It's a men that whoremonger too. So I need to pull the scales off your eyes to let you see how some of you Christian sisters allow these worldly men to maneuver around you. These men are the sons of Satan. Their daddy know how to beguile Eve. So it's nothing for his son to have a mouthpiece. They talk sweet to you. And a lot of these guys, sister, you know I'm telling the truth. This is the going thing now. Instead of a man, some of these men, they straight out say, I just want to have sex. But instead of them saying, I want to have sex with you, they think if I tell her, let me go down on you, then they can have sex with you. This is what a lot of men doing these days. I want to go down on you. I want to taste how you are. And you see, what they really want to do is do the original penis penetration through your vagina. That's what they really want to do. But they say, let me go down there. Because you see, they know a lot of women, some of you sisters, they know y'all like that kind of stuff. If you have experienced that kind of stuff. And then if they some of them know how to manipulate you with their mouths. Some of them know how to manipulate you with their object down there too. So if they could get you hooked with their words in your ears, if they could get you hooked physically, they got you. They got you emotionally. They got you mentally. They got you bodily. They got you financially. They got you. You just as good as God. Then you think you can make them happy. You can't make them happy. Now we going to from temporary, we going to temporary long term. Now you have been promoted. You have been promoted to the steady girlfriend. You're in a position for him to ask you to move in with him or he move in with you. And you think you really are something now. You think you one step from saying I do. God, that's what you want. Then one day you look down in his face while he's looking at TV or something. You say, is this all we're going to do? And then he tried to talk about something else. But he expect for you to get up and cook. He expect for you to get up and wash his clothes. He expect for you to clean the house. He expect for you to take care of those children. He expect for you to cook that meal again. He expect for you to be run errands for him without question. He expect for you not to question him when he come in and out and disappear on you. He expect for you to be ready in the bed, not to go to sleep. You know what I'm talking about. And after that, he expect for you to be quiet and don't ask no question. He playing you like a yo-yo. So back to it. Should a person have unrealistic expectation for you when you're not married? Sisters and brothers, I'm telling you this today. Do not, brother, allow a woman to have unrealistic expectations of you. You need to say, what you asking of me? You're asking me to do what you expect the husband to do. I'm not your husband. And sister, you should be at the point, you're asking me something that a wife should do. I'm not your wife. And they're going to either respect you or they're going to walk away from you. They're going to do one or two things. Do you want respect or you want them to walk away from you? That's your decision. If they walk away from you, that's telling you a whole lot. You could better believe you can get out of that wilderness and move to the promised land. Some of you brothers and sisters. So if you're not married, my brother, if you're not married to that man or woman, they should not expect for you to do marital duties and responsibilities. If you're just, and when you get into, if you meet someone, it's all business. When you date, it's for purpose. You can have fun while you dating, but you need to ask those questions. Because you see, most of all, you want to please God. That's the number one person you want to please, God. Because God have a design and he have a pattern of how relationships should be. So you have seen a whole bunch of men and women that's not doing it God's way. And it'll appear like they're having a good life. But deep down on the inside, they're not having a good life. A lot of them are taking these pictures and stuff like they're having a good life. They're not having a good life. They may have the things of this world, but deep down on the inside, they know something is missing because they're not doing it God's way. And you know what God would do? God would let them have temporary excitement, which could be years, but they cannot have that good relationship. They cannot have that in-depth relationship, that utopia type of relationship, unless they do it God's way through his son, Jesus Christ, through the power of the Spirit. My brothers and sisters, thank you so much for being here at the dinner table. I'm not talking down at none of you brothers and sisters. I'm just pulling the scales back so you can understand. You are not required, brother, to play the part of a husband. Sister, you are not required to play the part of a wife. Because guess what? If you're not married, brother, if you're not married, sister, you are a free agent. You are a free agent. You ain't signed up with no team. You are a free agent. So remember that, my brother. Remember that, my sister. If you have a question or comment, put weight down there. Put your question or comment. If you don't have no comments or no question, we could part right now. But take some of this good food for the soul, put it in the freezer, and have some more later on and share with some more family members and friends. I love you, brother. I love you, sister. Thank you all for being a part of the dinner table tonight. Peace out.